Hey guys, this is Naveen here. Welcome back to Naveen Automation Labs. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how to interview preparation for the test automation point of view in 2023. You can see there are many things got introduced in test automation area, and then people are expecting different kind of test automation expertise also according to the level of experience and everything. Although there are many videos that I have already prepared in past, and I thought of creating one more list for 2023 as well, where I have added extra points, and then I'll tell you what are the different things that you have to prepare. And I'm talking about with respect to test automation, not only for testing, because in testing then there are other testing processes or testing activities that you have to do with respect to test case designing, and then functional test cases that you have to write. But here we are focusing on the test automation only. So first I have prepared this particular list that what are the different test automation tools that you have to focus in 2023. And I have divided into multiple categories here. You can see that this is my UI automation tool, then API automation, then mobile automation, then performance and the security as well. And then I have categorized into first category, second, and then third, like that. It means majorly you have to focus upon the first category part. In some companies, if they are looking for the second category also, you can just look into it. And the third preference, I think you should give it to the last preference, you should give it to the third preference here. So for example, in the UI automation point of view, if I ask you that which one is there in the market, that I think it's again in 2023 also, most of the companies, most of the projects are still using Selenium with any specific language. Here, I don't want to comment on the language part. It's up to you. You want to learn with Java, C Sharp, Python, or Ruby, or any language that you want to use it, you can use it with Selenium. But everyone should know and learn about Selenium if you're talking about the UI automation. Then the Cypress and the Playwright is also booming. Playwright is also supporting multiple language support and Cypress with the JavaScript, and the companies started using it. If you have a job requirement or job description where Cypress and the Playwright is mentioned, then you can just go with this approach with this tool also. The third one, let's see, maybe some codeless automation. I'm not writing all the names here. Let's see, UFT or Test Complete or Test Cafe or Puppeteer or anything. You can just prepare for that separately. But I think instead of learning these things without first and second category, then unnecessary, I think you are just wasting your time, because the market demand is more with the first and second category over here with Selenium, Cypress, and the Playwright. Okay. So there is no harm that you are learning UFT or Test Complete or anything. But I think you should be smart enough in 2023, because whatever the scenario is going on in the market, you don't need to waste your time. Better focus on whatever the right things are required to learn to crack interviews, and for your learning and for a project point of view, I think you should focus upon more on those things. So that's why I have divided like first, second, and the third also. Maybe for some people this is important, so it's just my opinion, and according to my understanding, I have prepared this list. Then let's talk about API automation. For API automation, everyone should know about Postman. That is like very, very much required. Everyone should have the Postman in their system. And then how to hit the APIs, how to get the response, different authentication. We can write some automation code also with JavaScript in Postman. That also we can use that, how to create the collections, workspace. It means like it's simple tool, very easy, very straightforward. You can learn it, and everyone should know about Postman. Then we have the RestAssured Java library, and then some Python library also that you can use it, not with the RestAssured, but with Python. We have different Python modules and packages are available. And then let's say request module is available. You can do with the Python. Same thing with the JavaScript also. You can use that, and HTTP client, because every language is having its own HTTP client. Either it is JavaScript or Python or Ruby or whatever that you are using. HTTP client is with the Java also. So I think you should know about the respective HTTP client. But still, in the market, a lot of people, they are using Postman and the RestAssured. If this combination, if you have in your resume, I think that's a really good thing for the API automation point of view, because most of the job requirements are coming with these tools. Second thing, if you really want to focus upon the SOAP UI and the Karate, that also you can do that. Karate is again the BDD based framework, I would say, It supports UI as well as the API automation. And then you don't need to write any much code over here. Just write a simple Gherkin keywords in the feature file. And with the help of Cucumber, you can execute that. Same thing with the SOAP UI. SOAP UI is some features are commercial, some features are openly available. You don't need to pay for that, but again, it's up to you. That's why like SOAP UI with the Groovy that you have to learn. So in that case, this is a really good combination. Some companies, they are using it. So if you have a requirement, you can learn about these things as well. Then the last category that I have written with the Cypress and the Playwright. Cypress, Playwright, they both support API. That's a good thing. Let's see if you have a requirement of UI and API automation. And then in that case, you can easily do that. Your UI automation also can be done with Cypress. And then this also, you can use it here. Same thing with the Playwright also. You can do the UI plus API together. So if you have such a requirement, but you have to learn Cypress and Playwright and with respect to API in the UI automation, you can do that. But still, there are many features are available in the form of RestAssured and the Postman and the HTTP client. You can go with that thing as well. Then let's talk about the mobile automation. Mobile automation is also in the demand these days, that because most of the applications are moving to the mobile based, and then they are expecting some level of automation with the iOS and Android apps. So APM is again is the winner according to me. I think everyone should know about the basics of APM. If you know Selenium, because APM is actually internally using Selenium, most of the syntax, most of the things are exactly same locator strategy, same find elements for the mobile elements also, same wait strategy also you have to follow over there. You just need to understand the APM architecture, how exactly the APM setup and everything. Then the what are the desired capabilities and the device capabilities that you have to use it for iOS and Android, then I think then you are good to go with that. So if you are coming from the Selenium background, then it will be very easy for you to learn APM as well. Then we have the XUI test, especially for the iOS. In some companies, people prefer iOS testing only with the XUI test, and the Espresso is only for the Android. That also we can do that. And the Detox is again for iOS and Android. This is again, Detox is JavaScript based. This is also very popular in the market these days. You can learn about it, and then it's very fast and then easy to set up as compared to APM. But again, the community support is with the APM. That's why APM, I have kept it in the first category. Then if some older frameworks are there in the market like RoboTM or Calabash also, if you want to learn, you can do that. That's why I have kept it at the third position here. Okay. Then let's talk about quickly performance testing. With respect to performance testing, I think you should not stick to only the functional part. You should go to the non-functional testing also, where we have the performance testing with the JMeter, Gatling, and K6. These are the three amazing tools are available in the market. That's why I have kept it in the first category. JMeter is a very old tool. We all know that it's open source. There are so many resources, and community support is available. Gatling is using Java and Scala both. I have prepared a complete list on Scala also with Gatling. If you really want to go with that, a lot of good companies, got product companies, they use Gatling with the Scala, and the Locus also you can use that. And K6 is with the JavaScript. K6 is actually based on Go language, but for the client side, they use JavaScript for that. So if you really want to learn these things, you can learn it. And I think it's a really good addition in your portfolio for the performance testing point of view. And then if you really want to go with some commercial tools like a Load Runner or maybe the Neo Load, that also you can use it. Load UI, Silk Performer, I have kept it at the third position. But again, if you are having a really good interest in this performance engineering area or performance testing area, then I think you can learn about these tools as well. But at least every automation engineer should have the basic understanding of these automation performance testing tools like JMeter, Gatling, and the K6. Any of them, you can just have it, so that if someone is asking you at a time of interview, you should know about the terminologies, how exactly the performance testing is done. What do you mean by thread? What do you mean by response time, throughput, 90th percentile, 95th percentile, and all such things, how to create the matrix, how to do the performance analysis, and all such things. I think everyone should know about these tools as well. Then the security testing also I have added. It's okay if you don't have any experience or exposure about it, but at least a basic knowledge about What do you mean by SQL injection? What do you mean by vulnerabilities? How to check with the burp suite, OWS Zap tool, how to use that? Can we integrate it with our test automation? All can we integrate with these things with the Selenium and all? That also we can do that. Then recently, I had one webinar with the Pine team also. This is for the API security testing point of view. You can use it. This is again absolutely free of cost, and it can be easily done with your collection that you are writing in the Postman, and then it will check all the API security checks. Wireshark also you can use it here. Okay, so I think the basic understanding of SQL injection, different type of vulnerabilities, different type of cross-site scripting, you should know about with these tools as well. So this is the, I would say, the complete portfolio for the UI automation for your interview point of view, especially in 2023. Category wise, I have divided according to my understanding, whatever I have seen in the market these days, and what kind of requirement people are asking for that. I think you should focus on the first and the second category. First, improve your first category part, then you improve the second category part. And still, if you are really interested or something, then you can go with the third category also. But I think first two categories are very, very important here. Now let's proceed further. Some topics that I have written for testing, UI, API, backend, mobile, performance security. What are different topics that you have to concentrate? I'll do one thing. I'll share this complete documentation also with you later on. But before that, before the automation, we know that everyone should know about the basics of programming, basics of either whatever the language that you're writing, using, let's see, for example, Java, Python, or any XYZ language. The basics of object-oriented, basics of programming, basics of a core Java, you should know about it. So let's see, if you are coming from the Java background point of view, how much Java, what are the different Java topics that you really need to know? So I would say go with the core Java basics first. All the object-oriented functions, method overloading, method overriding, and then different topics on string manipulations, strings, and then exception handling, try catch block, different kind of different type of keywords are there, abstractions, interfaces, right? Inheritance concept, super keyword, this keyword, I would say if else conditions, switch case statements, and all such things you should know about in core Java, along with the object oriented programming concept. Then the Java collection framework is very, very important. Some important collections API are there, like array list, linked list, vector, set, hash set, map, hash map, their internal mechanism of hash map, array list, hash set, how exactly linked hash map, stack, and queue, these kind of collections you should know about it. These things are very, very important. Okay, so everyone should know about different types of collections. Same collections you will see in Python also in the form of dictionary, list, and everything. So you can prepare accordingly over there as well, because collection is the main data structure to hold the data, to manipulate the data, or to present the data. And then I think everyone should know about it. Then there are some tricky Java or programming based interview questions, like different types of questions. They are array based questions, or string based questions, or string manipulations, regular expressions, and all that I have listed. I have given the URL also. You can prepare it from here. Then move to the data structure and the algorithm. People ask that why data structure algorithm important for test automation engineers? Yes, we need that, because you have to write the code, you have to develop the code, you have to write the optimized code. So in that case, time complexity, space complexity of your data structure, of your algorithm that you are writing. I'm not saying you have to be really good and then you have to be top 10 in the hacker rank or something like this. But again, if you're really targeting a really good product company, or some really good companies where people are expecting good understanding of data structure and algorithm, then I think you have to be really smart enough and then really quick in these algorithms as well. But initially, I would say these things are more than enough if you're talking about time and space complexity. So this is the data structure algorithm, this list, that complete playlist that I have created. This is for the complete algorithm for SDET that I have prepared. And then for the QA automation point of view, that is more than enough for you. So this is already ongoing. Time complexity is already covered. 5-6 videos are already available there. Go and start watching it and prepare your DS algo based questions and the time complexity also. Then some search algorithms, and then these are the important search: linear search, binary search, Everyone should know about it. What do you mean by binary search? What is the time complexity of the binary search and the linear search? What do you mean by O of log n, right? What do you mean by O of n? Then in that case, right? And different sorting algorithms. For example, let's see merge sort, quick sort, heap sort, counting sort, depth first search, breadth first search. These are the searching algorithm once again. What will be the time complexity for the merge sort? It will be log n log n. How to calculate that? How exactly it is working? I think you should know about these things as well. Okay, so this is the first important thing. Along with these automation tools that we have covered, these things, everyone should know about this also, because your first round interview will be on data structure, algorithm programming, object-oriented programming based questions, whatever the language that you are using. I'm taking the context in the context of Java actually. Then some important points. There are like around, I would say 50-60 points that I have written over here. See, I'll share that. I'll just go to most of the important points here. So see this, let's see the first one, understand the role. Before the interview, research the role of a test automation engineer and understand the responsibility and skills required. What exactly they are looking for, what is the role, what kind of responsibilities that they are looking for, skills they're looking for before the interview, so that you prepare your interview accordingly. Talk to the HR, talk to their hiring manager, and go through their job description. And then on the basis of that, you prepare that. Let's see, they are expecting Cypress and you are preparing Selenium. They are expecting some other tool, but you are preparing something else. They are expecting performance engineering testing tools, but you are using a UI automation. You are preparing for that. So that is a mismatch, and then you will get a surprise. And that, in that case, you are wasting your time as well as the interviewer time also. That don't get disappointed. Whatever the requirement that they are expecting in the JD, prepare it accordingly. If you're not prepared, take some time and then apply later on. Don't go for the interviews without any preparation or without any solid preparation. Okay, then show your experience, share specific examples of your experience with the test automation tools and framework. Don't go with the specific bookish knowledge or theoretical knowledge. Whatever you have done in the specific tool, for example, let's see Selenium, APM, or any API automation or mobile automation that you have used in your previous projects, that you have practically done some kind of POC, some kind of projects, architecture, design, discussions, high level design, low level design, what are the different utilities that you have written. Explain everything with respect to automation with the real time experience, because these days people are preferring real time experience. Everyone knows about automation, how exactly you are different from other candidates, how exactly you are presenting your skills in terms of your previous experience. That plays a very, very important role. This is how you will be different from other candidates. Then let's talk about be familiar with the programming languages that we have already discussed about. I'm not saying only Java. It's up to you. You are coming from Python background, Java, JavaScript, C Sharp, whatever, any specific language that you can use it. But again, if you are starting your test automation journey first time, then you see the market capture percentage also. Let's see Selenium with Java, or Java is more popular, more community support, and more demanding in terms of as compared to other languages. So in that case, I would advise you to go with Java. Otherwise, it's up to you which language that you really want to use that. Then problem solving skills that we have already discussed, that share example how you identify and solve problem using test automation projects, such as bugs and the performance issue. Give some really good examples of the performance, where exactly you found the issue, where exactly that the main problem was there, and then it was really impacting the business and the customer, and how exactly your test cases or your automation or found that particular bug. Or prepare some good examples, at least 2 to 3 examples you prepare, and then discuss with that. Don't go with the regular examples. Don't go with the typical bookish examples. I'm pretty much sure that everyone is having some really good example, because you all are working in some company, and whatever the current project that you are having it, from that project itself, you pick a couple of important or very, very good issues that you have found. You can easily explain that as well at the time of interview. Explain your testing approaches. Describe your testing approach to how you ensure that the software is thoroughly tested before the release. What are different processes and all such things that you have used that. Understanding of agile and DevOps. You have to give examples. You have to explain that how exactly you have worked in agile and DevOps environments, how you have integrated your test automation into those processes, how exactly you started the test automation processes from the beginning, how did you improve that, what are the challenges that you faced and everything, and how exactly uh, you did overcome with those problems and challenges. Explain that, be practical, more and more practical, give better examples, and then I think after that you are good to go with that. Be ready, to answer questions about test automation best practices, such as maintenance of the test scripts, testing for the different environments, and the running the parallel test cases, because these are the very important core features that every test automation framework should have it. Okay, the maintenance, how exactly you did maintenance and everything, testing for the different environment. Let's see, on the you have QA environment, you have a stage environment, you have a UAT environment, you have dev environment, and the product environment. Then how exactly, if I ask you that run the test cases on the QA, right? Are you going to write the entire test suite once again? No. So how exactly you are maintaining the different environments, different parallel execution with the different cross browser or cross platforms that you are using? Explain about Selenium grid concept, running the test cases on the Dockerized grid, or maybe some cloud, AWS or Lambda test or browser stack or any vendor that you're using, the cloud vendor that you're using. Explain about those things as well. Then be familiar with the test automation tool that we have already discussed about. Popular test automation tools such as Test Complete, TestNG, or JUnit. Maybe Test Complete you can just ignore as of now, but TestNG, JUnit, these are the unit testing framework actually I really want to talk about. You can just explain and learn about it, the features of TestNG, features of JUnit, what is the difference between TestNG and BDD based frameworks like Cucumber, JUnit with Cucumber. Can we compare Selenium with TestNG? TestNG is just to write the test cases and maintenance of the test cases or generating your test report. Selenium is just to interacting with the browser or performing some action on the browser. So how can we integrate Selenium with TestNG or Selenium with Cucumber or Selenium with JUnit? That's the important. This is the core basic difference you should know about between these two tools. Okay, then API testing concept, then let's start with that. So API testing, including types of API calls, what kind of call it is. It's a get call, post call, put, delete, or anything. What do you mean by request response structure? It's coming in the form of JSON or XML or what? Common API testing tools also that we have already discussed, like RestAssured, Postman, and everything. Then be familiar with the API testing tools like that we discussed: Postman, SOAP-UI, Karate, JMeter, RestAssured, HttpClient, and be able to discuss their capabilities and the limitations. So it's up to you. I'm not saying that you have to be master in all the tools, but whatever tool that you are using, I have written everything. Now you customize it accordingly, according to your requirement, according to your understanding or experience, or according to your last time project that you have used. On the basis of that, you prepare these things. Then REST and difference between REST and SOAP, such kind of examples that you have to go with that. And then you should be able to write a test script in any specific language, as I mentioned earlier, like Python or Java, to automate the API testing. Understand the importance of API documentation, how to read the documentation, how to like Swagger documentation or any collection documentation if you really want to read from Postman or from the Swagger UI, how to design the test cases or create accurate test cases from those API documentation. You should know about it. Okay, understand the importance of the security testing of the API. Recently, I shared one documentation on social media. You remember that? What are different security authentication concepts are there? OAuth 1.0, 2.0, basic authentication, digestive authentication, captcha authentication, SSH key, and all such thing. Everything you should know about it, that how exactly we can authorize a particular user or a request. And then on the basis of that, because this is something very, very important, security testing is very important for the API. So what are different security vulnerabilities or authentication issues you can find? And I think you should discuss about it. People might ask you at a time of interview. Be familiar with API testing in the context of integration testing. This is also very hot topic and very important. And understand how API testing can be used as part of integration testing to test the integration between different systems. Let's see, you are working in order management system team and you have to get some data from the user management team. So integration should be there. So you are consuming their APIs, they are consuming your API. User management is consuming, let's say, some product API. This is a product team. So integration should be done, right? So you are sitting here and product management, a product team is sitting here and the user management team is sitting here. So how exactly? Because you are not responsible for the user management testing, but whatever data that you are getting from the user management, it should be tested properly. So that's why this is called integration between two systems. And when we test these kind of scenarios, this is called integration testing, right? So that's what it's very important in every distributed system, either it is microservices or monolithic or whatever. You have to do integration testing, because not you are not responsible for the entire system. You are responsible for a specific component, or maybe you are a specific I would say a system, or I would say a unit, and then other business unit, they are doing something else. Let's say they are generating the invoices, so you have to call their APIs. So that's what the integration is very important here. Be familiar with the context of load testing, as I mentioned, performance testing of an API under different load scenario. So that's also very important. So in security, performance, and the functional testing of the API, three important things you have to prepare for the API testing automation interviews point of view. Be familiar with the API testing in the context of continuous testing. Understand how API can be integrated into your CI/CD continuous integration process, and thoroughly tested throughout the development lifecycle. Understand the importance of test automation in the context of API testing, like in the context of discussion limitation of the test automation for API testing, like what are the limitations that you have, what are the different test cases that you actually you could not automate. Maybe it's a data issue or integration issue, or maybe some environment issue, whatever is there. So limitations and the benefits, you can talk about it in that particular context. Then be ready to talk about the CI/CD pipeline. Understand how test automation fits into CI/CD. Same thing for UI automation as well as API and mobile automation. Then and prepare to talk how you integrated test automation into a CI/CD environment. If you are using anything, if you're using Jenkins, if you're using GitHub Actions, if you're using GitLab, okay, if you're using Bitrise or whatever, I think Bitrise, whatever you are using, or Bamboo or anything, or Bitbucket pipeline that you are using, and you should be aware of that, how exactly my automation is participating in the main CI/CD pipeline. Okay, understand the importance of test automation documentation, and be able to discuss the maintenance detailed test automation documentation, such as your test plan documentation, test cases, test results. Be ready for share examples. How have you done, how exactly you have done this in that past, in your current project or your last projects, how you prepared your test automation plan, test automation strategy, how you exactly decided that this tool that I'm going to use, the results, how you presented the result in the form of some dashboard or some report, or some logs that you are showing. So, or maybe some Slack integration or some chat integration. Share some examples and then give the answer accordingly, like that. Then be ready to discuss test automation challenges. Obviously, we say that you cannot automate everything, but be prepared to discuss more common challenges which arise during the test automation project, and how exactly you have overcome them in the past, such as flaky test cases, test maintenance, or test execution time. So you should know about it, prepare some examples. What were the reason behind that? Maybe the environment was not stable, or application was not stable. We were getting a lot of flaky test, means locators were getting changed, or maybe the the flow of the application was getting changed. Execution time was taking a lot of time. Then how exactly you have decreased the time, how exactly you have maintained the time. You give some example that we removed most of the thread.sleep time, and then we implemented a dynamic time. There we improved our locator strategies, we improved our XPath and CSS, and then we asked the developers to maintain the most of the static ID for the element, so that we can use those by.id directly in my script, and then I can use it without any problem, so that we will get less flaky test. But what are the challenges that you faced, problems that you faced? Discuss about it. Don't say that, okay, we never faced any problem, everything was very smooth and everything. It means then in that case, if you have not seen the challenges, then how tomorrow, if you're getting any challenges in the new company or new project, then in that case, how will you get to know about it? It means you don't have any experience about that. Okay, so just discuss about the problems and the challenges, the limitations and everything, and then how exactly you overcome with those challenges. Present some ideas, present some examples that you have done in the past, and then on the basis of that, try to justify your answer. Now then, test automation matrices like test coverage, test execution time, test success rate, and be ready to discuss how you have used these matrix test automation process point of view. Some requirement traceability matrix, let's see, requirement to manual testing to automation mapping that you have done. Your test execution time matrix, that how much time you have saved. Earlier you were taking around, let's see, 2 days of time for the regression, but now you are taking only 3 to 4 hours. Test coverage report, test success report, how many test cases got passed, failed, build to build from last quarter, that you improved from 50 to 60, 60 to 70. Now finally you are getting 90% success rate from your automation, and you are able to find the issues in your application with the help of automation, right? So you can share those things as well. Then understand the importance of test automation in the overall testing process. Explain that how test automation fits into overall software testing process, and be able to discuss the benefit and the limitation of test automation, that it is saving a lot of time. At the time of interview, people might ask you, what is the advantage of automation? How exactly you have achieved those advantages in your current project, in your last project. Then in that case, you can explain that we were having 3 to 4 thousand regression test cases with 2 to 3 resources, which was very time taking and tedious job. And we were into agile and the sprint based system. And then every 15 days or every 1 week or every day we were having a release. So automation was helping us a lot, that 30-40% things that we have already automated from the regression suite, and then we were able to execute it, so that we were able to concentrate 60% only on the functional side manually that we were doing it. So that's why that automation was helping us. It was integrated with the main CI/CD pipeline and everything, and then you can explain in that way. Okay, and then show your enthusiasm and then willingness to learn about. You are passionate about the test automation, and that's why you're always looking for ways to improve your skills and knowledge. That is a very, very important point. Don't say that, okay, I know everything and then I'm become a pro, I become an expert. If there isn't any improvement area in your team also, let's see, if someone is asking me that, do you know about that, or do you aware of this particular tool, but they are using that tool, I'm not aware of it. So it's always a good thing that I'm getting a good opportunity or new ways to improve my skills and knowledge. Maybe they are writing a better code, let's see, they have written a better framework than me, then it's always a improving my skills and the knowledge, and improving my coding skills or improving my test automation skills with this point. So show that, and to show that willingness to learn about automation and how exactly you can improve your skills. Be ready to discuss test automation in the context of different testing types. Understand the difference between type of testing, such unit testing, integration testing, end-to-end testing. Be able to discuss how test automation can be used to support each type. You are supporting the unit testing, also integration testing that we have discussed, end-to-end functional testing that you are doing, performance non-functional testing also. And with the help of automation, give some example, and then how exactly we are supporting the developers also to achieve the unit testing and the integration testing. Be familiar with the test automation reporting tools that we discussed, like LAR report, SNG report, or JUnit report, or any extend report that you want to use it. Then just explain that. I have not written everything, but you can just explain that accordingly. Then be ready to discuss test automation in the context of different platforms like web, mobile, desktop application, and then different browsers, different operating system, how exactly you are testing it. You can explain that. Okay. Familiar test automation in the cloud. Understand the importance of the cloud-based testing. You're running the test cases on, let's see, on the AWS or Azure or GCP. And then let's see, some service vendors are available in the market, like let's see, Source Labs, Lambda Stack, Lambda Test, Browser Stack, or Testim, or these vendors are available. And then you are running the test cases from your local to on their cloud environment. So how exactly these things are happening, how exactly you integrated, what kind of POC that you have done, and how many devices that you are using on the browser stack or Lambda test, you can explain those things accordingly. Understand the importance of test data management. It's a very important topic because in every automation framework that you are using or test cases that you are writing with automation, test data management, the TDM. Okay, this is called TDM, test data management. How you maintain the test data? Are you really fetching the real-time test data or dumping the production data into some test data management system or something like this? You are creating some test data generator utilities or test data manager, a concept or system that you are developing where for your automation you are just fetching the data from there and then running your test automation with these data generated by test data generator or test data manager. Understand the importance of test automation in the context of security testing that we have already, I think, discussed. Support security testing, importance of security testing overall to improve the overall testing process. Understand the importance of test automation in the context of performance testing that we have also discussed, that what a different performance script with the help of a specific tool like JMeter or Gatling or K6 or any XYZ tool that you have already used. Explain that. What is the need of that? What kind of test cases that you automated for the performance testing point of view? Because you cannot automate everything. You should not automate everything with the performance testing. Let's see some important search API on Amazon, or let's see login API, or let's see registration API, or let's see product search API, right? These APIs are taking lot of time if I really want to add the product into the cart. So cart API is there or search API is there. 50,000 people are hitting the search API during Thanksgiving Day or during Diwali season. Then in that case, is it really responding properly or not? So these are the scenarios. You can prepare some examples for the performance testing point of view. Okay. Then test automation in the context of different industries, specific test automation, different like finance, healthcare, e-commerce, okay, banking, HR, whatever that you want to discuss, you can just discuss about in the specific domain also. If you really want to have some idea about like IoT devices, like Internet of Things, if you are familiar about it, you can just prepare it. Otherwise, that's okay. You can ignore this point as well. If you don't know about it, you're not sure about it, you can simply say that, okay, I have not much idea about IoT devices. Then AI and ML based system. This is the like last point that I have written with respect to in this category, that using test automation for the AI and ML based system, be familiar with the different test automation tools and frameworks that can be used to test these systems. So research about it. Maybe some locator healing concept. Through machine learning, you are just automatically generating some automation test cases. Let's see, ChatGPT is the latest example. Through the AI, they are you just give the requirement and then they are preparing the script for that. So are you using such kind of tools to enhance or to improve your test automation, and then test automation coverage? Are you improving or not with these tools with the help of AI ML? You can give certain examples of that. Then the test automation in the context of accessibility testing. This is also very important. Most of the product companies where we have or let's say customer is asking for the accessibility testing, for the people who really want are, let's say, physically challenged, or they are not they really want to implement some accessibility features in the application, and you have to test it. So can we use automation in that area? Yes, of course we can do that. What are the libraries, what are third party tools that you are using for the automation point of view for this type of testing? You can just add your important points here. You can just refer my videos on accessibility testing using automation. You can just go through it, and then I think you can just, I'm sure that you will get some idea about it, because this is also very important thing. They are expecting that, okay, you are giving some a good answer for this question as well. Then the context of continuous testing. Understand the importance of continuous testing. Be familiar with how test automation can be used to support it, including integration in the test management and the test execution tool. Then BDD, that, okay, behavioral driven development framework. What do you mean by BDD? What do you mean by BDD process? Test driven development process. What are different tools, frameworks that you are using, such as, let's see, Cucumber, SpecFlow, JBehave, like this, right? So such things you can just explain. What is the importance of a feature file, how to prepare the feature file, what is the importance of BDD. Cucumber is not the only thing that can be used with the BDD. There are other tools also, And Cucumber doesn't mean that you have implemented the complete BDD things. BDD is an approach. BDD is a test centering approach where all the three amigos like QA, PO, and the dev, they are coming together, sitting together and preparing the features for you in the common language, that is English language, with the help of Gherkin keywords like given, when, then. And then it will be distributed to the developers, PO, and the automation engineers. And then automation engineers, they are using Cucumber or a Specflow or JBehave to write the BDD based scenarios, step definitions and everything, and then they are running it. So try to understand what do you mean by BDD, what is the use of that, what is the purpose of that. And they are, it's not like just for the sake of using Cucumber we are using it, but nobody is implementing the process, or management is not supporting the BDD in that case. Then what is the use of BDD? It's unnecessary burden on you. You are creating the feature file, you are writing the step definition file, you are doing automation, you are writing functional test cases in your Excel sheet also. Then nobody is participating in the BDD. Then what is the use of BDD in your project? Right, you could have used directly with the TestNG also, or maybe some other tool also without Cucumber. So you have to justify that why are you using Cucumber, what is the use of BDD in your company, what are different processes that you are using it. So that's why especially I have these things I have mentioned here. IoT that we have discussed, so just ignore that. Blockchain, if you really want to read about it, that also you can ignore it if you are not sure about it. And I think this is the repetitive point that we have already discussed. Security testing also we have discussed. Performance testing also we have discussed. And then the test automation for the microservices architecture. Okay. So microservices architecture and the family with the different test automation that can be used for the microservices based or monolithic based. What do you mean by a pact? You must have heard about this tool. And to automate the microservices, can we automate the microservices with the help of some other third-party library in a specific language with RestAssured or something? Can we automate microservices with the what is the importance of that? Do we have any can we use directly Spring Boot APIs to test those APIs or to microservices? Because with microservices there is no direct endpoint available, okay, most of the time. So what is the difference between microservices and the APIs, or microservices with the monolithic environment? How to test it? And component testing also, in that case you can just include it and then try to learn about it. I'll prepare some videos on the microservices later, how to test it, which tool, what is the approach that you have to use. Then maybe it will be useful for you. But you can just, if you are using microservices, you should know about how to test those services as well. Then the serverless architecture, if you have any serverless architecture, otherwise you can just ignore this part if you're not using it. Cloud native applications for test automation, and cloud native test automation for the cloud native application. Be familiar of it, that how to manage the application and the servers on the cloud, and then what type of testing that with respect to cloud that you can do it. Because although everything is on the cloud these days, but let's see, especially some configuration you have to do on AWS, or you have to call the AWS, let's see, some EC2 APIs or S3 bucket APIs. You really want to check that on AWS S3 bucket, my data, my files, my document, my images are stored or not, total count of images in that particular bucket. So at the runtime, is it really creating the bucket or not? So such kind of activities, you can do that. Is it really generating the logs, the audit logs, right? The CloudWatch audit logs and everything, it's doing properly or not, scheduling, performance, and all such things you can maintain with respect to cloud testing or cloud for the cloud native applications. Okay, that's why these topics I have actually written at the end, so that if you have experience, then you can prepare it accordingly. Then containerized application. If you are running your application with the help of Docker containers and everything, Kubernetes, what is the architecture of that? How to test it? Containerized application hosted on a specific server or on the specific cloud. Then in that case, how to test those things? I think you can just, if you're using it, prepare some question about it and prepare some answer about it, some examples and everything, and then you can just good to go with that. Then the difference between test-driven development and the BDD-driven development, when to use, how to use, what is test-driven, what is ATDD also, I forgot to add it here. Okay, test-driven development, BDD and ADD, what is the difference between that? When to use what are the approaches that we have to follow, advantages, disadvantages, pros and cons, and when to use which tool is supporting test-driven or BDD-driven frameworks or a development cycle, then in that case, you can go with that thing as well. Okay. Then the couple of last point in the context of mobile testing also that I have already added. Um, Test automation framework that can be used for the mobile application, understand the specific requirement and the challenges for the mobile testing, because mobile testing is different from your web testing or API testing, because here you have to be involved, you have to involve iOS and Android devices. What are the challenges that you faced on the different devices, especially with the iOS or maybe on Android, maybe some old version of Android, maybe some latest version of iOS, you are facing some challenges with respect to automation, which devices generally you use it for the automation. Let's see your customer base, there are 1,000 customers are there, but 80% customer they are using iOS in US. Then in that case I'll prefer iOS automation as compared to less automation I'll do with the Android. So my first priority is always with the iOS automation. So which tool, what are the challenges that actually you faced, what exactly the specific requirement with respect to devices and operating system, you can just cover in this particular area. Then the context of test data management that I think we have already discussed, how to generate a test data. This is something very important at the when you have around 7-8 years experience guy, they should know about it. How exactly you are maintaining the test data, how you are creating the test data management. Do you have any fake APIs or mock servers to get the fake data or a test data, such test data generated tools or test data manager services that you are using? So you can explain in that area as well. Okay, so I'm not going very deep dive. I'm just going through, okay, one by one, point by point, whatever came in my mind, I jotted down and then I'm just giving you. And later on, you can just prepare well that on these topics that you have to prepare for test automation point of view, because these are very practical things, whatever we have discussed so far, are very real-time things that we do in real-time projects. Nobody will ask you that how will you launch a browser with the Selenium. That's a very basic thing. Everyone should know about it if you're going for the test automation. But challenges, requirements, and the limitations, and then how did you overcome with those challenges? What type of automation? Which tool that you are using? Okay, did you do any POC, test data management, test data generator, managers, data managers, performance, security? These things are very, very important. Then I've written a couple of other points like chatbot, conversational systems. You can ignore this part if you want to ignore it. And then the service virtualization. If you're using importance of service virtualization, what is the importance of that? Familiar with the different service virtualization tools and framework that can be used to support test automation. If you're using a lot of VMs or service virtualization, let's see, maybe if you have used Tosca or something, then in that case, such kind of automation, we use it, but not most of the people they use it. So if you want to ignore, you can ignore that point. But if you really want to know about it, you can do some research on service virtualization automation and then prepare your questions accordingly. And then big data, if you're using or any data analytics, that you're using some specific tool or big data analytics systems, and then importance of test automation. Can we do some automation for the big data, Spark or something? And how exactly you're manipulating the data, what framework you prefer for that to manage the data centers and everything and big data, and a lot of analytics that you are doing with respect to machine learning and everything. So you can prepare with this particular point. We're almost done. The context of IoT that we have already discussed, embedded system. Let's see any Bluetooth devices or any uh, any hardware testing that you have to do with respect to embedded system. Let's see, especially with the car rental services or Zoom car services, or you are using with the mobility services where we have to open the car through the app. The car is there on the road, and then we have to open the car through the app. So it's the Bluetooth connection is happening or some Raspberry devices that they have connected. This is kind of hardware testing. So how to mock it, how to uh, test those embedded or IoT based systems, and that thing, you can just go with that, because in some companies they have such kind of business. So they are expecting that do you have any context regarding the automation or testing about these systems or not. Then be ready to discuss your test automation that we discussed that in the main CI/CD pipeline. Understand the test automation fits into your CI/CD, because if you are not running the test cases through the CI/CD server and it's not part of your continuous testing server, then what is the use of that automation? So which tool that you're using, which CI/CD pipeline, what is the flow of the CI/CD pipeline? Can you tell me about your release cycle and where exactly your automation is running? Are you like doing some sanity to regression, something like this? Are you doing any static check? Are you doing any performance testing or any security testing also? Shift left, shift right testing, you can just explain in your main CI/CD pipeline about that. You must have heard about these terms like shift left and then the shift right. So this is the main pipeline, this is the production, and this is the main code that you are writing. So shift, let's see, this is the middle point, and the shift left means more and more testing that you are doing it over here, and shift right means you're doing the testing after the production, once the production that you have reached here, like this, it means at the right hand side. So these days shift left testing means most of the testing that you're doing at the left hand side. Left hand side means once the code is developed, you are doing your automation, you're doing your security, you're doing the performance testing and everything, not after the production, before the production. That's why this is called a shift left testing scenarios. Okay. And the almost last point. Yeah, last point, security testing that we have discussed. Be familiar with the test automation framework used to web application for the security vulnerabilities like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, some fishy JavaScript, okay, such things, some manipulative data that you are doing or scripting that you are introducing in your browser, some authentication based scenarios and all. You can use that tool and use such scenarios. Which automation tool like Burp Suite or Find or whatever we have listed in the table, right? You can explain about that if you have idea in this area as well. So be prepared. if you have written in your resume, then in that case people might ask you. If they have written in the JD also, then prepare about these things. If you have not worked upon these things, then you start learning about it and then get some exposure and experience about it, and then you can explain. At least you have something to explain at a time of interview instead of saying straightforward no about that thing. Okay, because these days these are the things that people are expecting. So all these lists that I have listed over here, I think in the first, second, third category, this is as per my experience and my understanding. If you really want to add something more, feel free to add it in the comment section, and then maybe it will be definitely useful for other students or other candidates as well. So I'll do one thing. I'll share this entire documentation in the comment section. You can download this documentation and then you can just prepare your list, add or delete some important points according to you. And then if you're going with this approach, I'm pretty much sure that lot of good things you will be preparing. You will get the confidence and you can crack test automation interviews properly. Okay, so this entire thing, if you are really preparing for that, this entire thing should take around 2 to 3 months of time. Depends on the preparation that you have already. If you're already prepared, maybe 15-20 days, you just need to revise it and go for it. But if you are really starting from today, let's see, from today onwards, it will easily take around 2 to 3 months of time. After that, once you're prepared, do some mock interviews. If you really want to connect with me for the mock interviews, we can have it, and then go through some complex interview questions and everything. Go through that, how exactly people are asking, companies are asking the questions for that specific profile from the Glassdoor, or talk to a specific candidate where people are working over there, talk to those people and then check that what kind of level, what kind of question people are asking, and then so that I can do my preparation accordingly. And then on top of that, remember, the testing is important here. You should not forget about testing. Today, what we discuss about for the test automation point of view, but I'm talking about the testing. How will you raise a bug, testing, testabilities, right? Test matrices, and then testing approaches, different types of testing, bug life cycle, how to design the functional test cases, and all such things. I think you should be ready with the testing concepts also along with that. And then your test automation journey for 2-3 months for the preparation. And then you go for the final interview here. Okay. And then check that how exactly getting the response from the interview. What is the feedback? Out of 10, let's see, your feedback is not that great. You're getting only, let's see, only 2 3 first interviews that you are creating, or maybe sometimes only second interview that you are cracking, or but most of the time you are getting rejected. So analyze that where exactly I'm lacking. What is the problem with my approach? Maybe I'm not prepared. Maybe I'm prepared, but I'm not able to deliver it properly. Maybe I'm not prepared in the specific tool. Let's say, for example, you have written Selenium and they are also expecting Selenium, but you are not very much confident. Out of let's say 10, I just simple out of 5, let's say I'll say only 2 or 3. Then in that case, I'm not very much aware of that specific tool. Then I have to get the confidence. I have to practice more, take more examples, and then practice it accordingly. And then you analyze after the feedback. So once this thing is started, then start analyzing the feedback also, and then do the preparation once again. Revise the topics, whatever topics are there. Revise the topics, prepare it well once again, and then work upon your weaknesses, work upon your improvement areas. Write down all the feedback in some Excel file, and then check that, okay, in this company, that was the thing that I could not answer. That was the thing that I was not that confident. I could not impress at a time of interview, or I could not give the answer at all. I have never heard about this particular term. So jot down everything in this particular Excel file, and then revise it, prepare it, and then again go for the interviews. And then I'm sure here you are getting only 2 or 3 companies, first round or second round, that you are cracking. I'm sure after that you will start getting the offers from here. Okay. So this entire process will take 2 to 3 months of hard preparation. And then after that, at least 1 to 2 months of final interview process and everything. And then I'm sure easily you can get 3 to 4 offers here, different 3 to 4 options here. Okay. This is the typical process that we follow, but here and there you have to revise it, work upon your feedback and everything. Keep preparing it again. In between, something important is there. Keep adding those things in this particular list, and then again go for the interviews. Okay. And then with this approach, I'm sure you will start getting really good offers. You will start cracking the interviews. You will be reaching at the 4th level or a 3rd round of interview. And then after that, also, if you're getting rejected, don't get disappointed, but at least you have reached there. So this is a complete journey that you have followed. And then you are now reaching at the 3rd or 4th round of interview. The only thing is you just need to prepare well. Only 10% work is pending. That in this 10%, you have in this particular 10% area, you have to improve it. And then I think after that, you are good to go with that. So this is the process that we followed with a lot of candidates. People are having some gaps or some experience they were not having in automation. They learn it, move to automation, prepare it well. So this is a complete 2 to 4 months of journey. It depends how exactly you are spending time after the office hours, weekends and everything. Forget about everything for next 3 4 months. Don't give interview if you're not confident enough. Give interviews only when you are prepared well, and then after that, just go with that. Okay. So with this thing, thank you so much. Please subscribe to the channel. Share this video with others who are looking for interview preparation thing, and any specific guidance with respect to test automation preparation, interview preparation. And then I'll share this documentation also in the comment section. You guys can have a look, and then after that, we all are good to go with that. If you really want to add some extra points in the comment section, please guys feel free to add it in the comment section. That's all for today. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and God bless you all.